Okay, like I said, today we're going to do sewer layout with pipe networks. And to get started, what you need to have is a file set up that has a couple things in it. So in a variety of the classes so far, we've talked about data referencing and so on and so forth. So once you have your project set up, a couple things we need to data reference in to get started is our existing grade surface and our finished grade surface. Now, of course, if you're doing a sewer project and there's no finished grade, you wouldn't have one of those. But bring your existing grade surface in as a data reference, and make sure when you bring that in, of course, you're going to set that to no display style, so you don't have your existing grade surface in multiple drawings throughout the project and really slowing things down. So make sure always set those surfaces to no display. I think we're getting better with that after I brought it to attention in the last couple of training sessions and engineers and designers group meeting. Really, that's all you need to bring in. From that point forward, we're going to start with a pipe, our pipe network layout tools. With Civil 3D, Pipe Networks is a lot different than PipeWorks in Land Desktop. Civil 3D, Pipe Networks, an entire site usually resides within one network, where Land Desktop worked more on the run concept, where a string, one consecutive string, for example, this sewer line, this would be a pipe run coming up through here all the way to its very end. And then this would be another pipe run in Land Desktop. In Civil 3D, this is one sewer pipe network, okay? So all these pipes reside in the same network. To create a network, we're going to simply just go up to our Civil 3D pull down here. We're going to go to Pipes. We're going to hit Create Pipe Network by Layout. We can name that whatever we'd like, so we're just going to call it Sewer. And I already have a network in here, so I'm just going to call this Sewer-A. And then for that pipe network, I need to choose what parts I want to use. So if we're modeling a proposed system, which we're going to do, most of the parts we're going to place here, or structures, are going to be proposed. A few are going to be existing, very few, really just one. So I'll switch that around when I want to place that existing structure. For a majority of everything we're placing, it's going to be proposed today. So go ahead and select your HRG Sewer Proposed. You can see in there you have gas, water, and storm as well. So Sewer Proposed. And then also we need to target a surface. And that's why we needed to data reference in that existing grade surface. So you have to do more than just XREF, the survey base file. You have to actually it doesn't really matter if you don't even need to XREF the survey base file. As long as you have that existing grade data reference in there, you're good to go. If you don't see it available here as a selection, that means you don't have a data reference in. You have to bring that in. Notice I do not need it to be displayed to select it here. So I can bring a surface in, set it to no display, and then it's there for data's sake. I don't need to visually see that data reference surface. I just need to have it there so I can connect at this stage. The below options here are an alignment name. So if you specify an alignment name, that would mean that each structure in the sewer network would be associated, or it can pull its stationing from a specific alignment. I would typically, my recommendation is to always leave this to none. With Civil 3D 2009, you really do that with the station labels. Maybe if I was doing a very long run of, or I was doing a project that it was just one run of pipe, just one length coming up here, maybe it went from one town to another and that was it. If I was doing that, maybe then because I only really have one alignment there, maybe I'd target that alignment. But typically, you're going to have multiple alignments dealing with your sewer structures and pipes. So specifying one at this point for the entire network doesn't really make sense. So hopefully that clarifies that. If you need further information on what that's going to do, you can hit Help. Really, all it does is makes the station and offset labels come up automatically. We're going to set those sort of manually with the labels, but that doesn't really take in much time either way. This structure label style, this should really say plan, view, structure label style, plan, view, pipe label style. So if you set these, as soon as you place manholes or the pipes, it's going to automatically label those. Typically for sewer, we're going to go ahead and set this because of the pretty simple labels that you run into. If you hit that pull down, and you can always make these boxes, I guess in this one you can't make it any bigger. Typically you can pan back and forth or scroll back and forth down here, but our names are getting a little long here. Got to keep check on that. But we've set the HRG sanitary plan proposed, and then for my pipe label style, I'm going to use my HRG sanitary plan proposed arrow. So make sure that you select, these are for plan view, these label styles are for profile view. Make sure you look for plan in the name. Okay? So we're going to hit OK there, and that brings up this dialog box. And that's how you can create a network. And from here, you can go ahead and start picking your structures and placing them. Like I said, I already have a network set up, so I want to add these parts to this existing network just for moving this class along a little bit faster. So I'm going to go ahead and close this dialog box here and just open up the existing network, which is this sewer pipe network. So I can go ahead and delete this one. It's empty. And I want to actually edit this one. I can get to that same toolbar for an existing network by right-clicking on it in Prospector and hitting Edit Network, or if I right-click it in Plan View, so I can click on any pipe or structure, right-click on it and hit Edit Network. And that brings up my same toolbar, but now I'm associated to this existing network. So we're going to come down here. What we're going to do is we're going to extend this sewer layout down to an existing inlet here, and then we're going to take it from here, and we're going to bring up force main up past the property line, come across here, and we're going to go all the way down the road with the proposed force main and sort of end it here, and imagine that this is where a treatment plant is. So let's get started with that. The first thing I need to do is I want to work from the bottom up or top down, whichever way you need to work in a consistent direction. Some of the selection options here, and this is the same for any pipe networking task you're doing, is this is your structures that you're going to place, and these are your pipes that you're going to use as you're placing these structures, pipes in plan view. Any of these toggles to the left here are my pipe properties, my current surface, my current alignment, or my current parts list. So I can switch these at any given time. Then I can specify what structure I want to place, what the connecting pipe's going to be, and then this is sort of the action button over here that I can place pipes and structures at the same time, or I can just do pipes only or structures only. And this direction arrow lets Civil 3D know which direction you're drawing the system in. So in this case, I'm going to draw it in upstream. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle that to the upstream direction. There's two things you can really do here. I want to place an existing structure here. So I can easily just go hit my parts list and switch that to sewer exist and hit OK. And then that is my my current parts. Think of it like these parts lists. Think of these as the yard. And there's a whole bunch of existing manholes there and proposed manholes and all kinds of pipes. And you're going to physically place these. You're going to take them from the yard and place them into the ground. So, the yard where all these structures are kept, they're broken down. So if you want to get sewer stuff existing, you have to go to this yard. If you want to go to sewer proposed, you have to go to this yard. So if I click my sewer existing and hit OK there, now I'm looking at all existing manholes and all kinds of existing pipe structures to place. And why that's important is because of the styles that will be associated with it. So let's go ahead and go down and click my cylindrical structure here, 48-inch, 24-inch diameter, 24-inch frame. You have a couple options there. Concentric means that the manhole frame, the lid is right in the top, in the middle of the manhole. Typically, I really haven't seen any manholes like that. Eccentric is what a typical manhole looks like, where the lid is sort of offset to the one side of the manhole, so the stairs line up right down the side of the manhole. So I'm going to go ahead and use my eccentric tools here, or structure types. Go ahead, hit manhole 48 inches is a standard manhole size, and 8-inch PVC is a pretty standard pipe size, but in this project, we're going to use 6-inch. It's just a little residential area. I'm going to go and do structures only for this one placement because I want to pick and place just this inlet. So I have a little leader there for myself for the class here, so I'm just going to snap to the center of it, and you can see that will place that manhole for me. And then it's asking me for the next manhole location. Well, I'm going to hit enter there and just escape out of that because I don't want to place another one. I'm going to go back up to my parts list here. I'm going to change this to sanitary sewer proposed, and go ahead and reselect my eccentric manhole, and I'm going to do a 6-inch pipe, and then from this point I'm going to do structure, or I'm going to do pipes and structures. So go ahead and pick my action tool, and now I browse down to this manhole, and I get a little glyph. It looks like a target, and that's what you really need to search for to connect a pipe from manhole to manhole. So having that glyph up on the screen, you can hopefully see it there right aside of the MH. I know I'm ready to left click to have this pipe attached to this manhole, and that's a critical piece of laying this thing out, is to having all these pipes attached to manholes. I'm going to go ahead and select, and you can see it automatically snapped my pipe right to the center of that manhole. Now it's asking me for my, where do I want to place the next manhole. I'm going to go and bring it up here and just eyeball in another manhole, and you can see my manhole numbering there is really starting off. I started off at manhole 19 and manhole 20, and that's sort of high for me. I have a bunch of other manholes throughout the system here, as you can see. So maybe for this run, I want to change that naming convention a little bit. So I'm going to hit enter and escape out of here because that's something I noticed, and it's no big deal. I can come into my pipe network properties dialog, click that on the fly, and go to the layout settings tab, and right here you can see the structure naming template. So if you made a brand new network, this is probably set to STR by default. So your structure label would have said STR, brand new network, it would have said 01. So you might want to come in here and set that to MH, just so it's less to rename in the future. There's different ways to do that. And also I can come into this naming template at any time and click on the little double chevron here and change the starting number. So let's start this at 50. My next manhole will be 51, I guess, since I'm going to have to rename this one to 50. Hit OK. Hit OK again. Go back up. These still have not changed, so they're still the parts I want. I'm going to go ahead and do my pipes and structures placement tool. I can connect to this one and bring it over and connect in here. Now, I already have an existing, and I'm trying to show you a lot of different features, so you can use these for laying it out and also for editing it, adding line segments to it. But I already have an existing, or a proposed manhole and line coming down here. So I want to actually place a manhole right at the end of that existing pipe and connect these two things together. So the glyph I need to wait for there is, if I just hover in, you can see it's a closed, sort of like a square with two ends coming out on either side. Wait for that glyph to come up and then pick, and that will place a manhole and connect both pipes to it. So that's if you're connecting into the end of another pipe segment. You see the glyph's a little different there. Okay, well, I'm going to come up through here, and we can only go so far with our manhole run. So maybe up here around station 600, I want to place another manhole, you know, because it can only have 400 feet of length and so on and so forth. But when placing this, just eyeballing these in, I want more precision than that. I want this manhole center to be right at station 600 and exactly 5 feet to the inside. I want it to be right here, but perfectly, you know, at station 600 and 5 feet to the side. So how do we do that? Well, to do that, I'm going to bring down my transparency command toolbar. And it looks something like this. To pull that up, of course, you just right-click. Let's see how much I can get away with here. Right-click on any open space in AutoCAD or Civil 3D and go to transparency commands and turn that toolbar on. I'm still on the tool. I'm impressed with that. And once you have that tool up, what we want to use here is a station and offset transparency command. So in Land Desktop, you might have been familiar with this. It had transparency commands, not as many as Civil 3D, but you know, you could hit the little caret key side of the enter button on your keyboard and type in if you knew the codes. And here it's sort of the same thing, but you can actually pick them from a button. This station and offset will allow us to pick an alignment, which needs to be active in your drawing. So say this alignment was generated in another file, you would need to data reference this alignment in, which I did, and have it turned on so you can see it, see the data reference alignment. And then in any command, any tool, anything that you're laying down, you can use any of these transparency commands. So I'm going to use this, like I said, this station and offset one. Click it. I'm going to click the alignment. It's going to ask me what station along the alignment. So I'm going to type in 600. You can't type in 6 plus 00. It has to be 6. So 6 plus 00 is 600. You have to type in a distance, like 600, which equals 6 plus 00. And then the offset, if it's on the right side, it's a positive number. If it's on the left side of the alignment, it's a negative number. So I'm going to type in negative. As you can see, that would be on the left side since my alignment's running down this way. -5. And right there we are. So that manhole is placed exactly at 600, 5 feet to the right. And you can use that really for anything. If you just want to draw a line, say you wanted to start just a normal line segment, an AutoCAD line from the same location, you can still use these transparency commands. So keep them handy. They're very powerful. Now I'm still in the transparency command, just for showing you how this works. One more time, I can go to up farther here to the curve, and say I wanted to do it, somewhere in here so I can make the bend stay in the road. Notice that there's a little tooltip there, so I can sort of hover and see that looks around, I don't know, station 3 plus 10, so let's just do 310 exactly. And again, -5 feet. All right. Now, if I want to exit out of the transparency command and sort of eyeball a manhole in, I can easily do that just by hitting escape one time, and then I'm in the command here still to place the last manhole. So if you hit escape, that backs you out of the transparency command. If you hit escape twice, that would back you out of the whole tool here, so you'd have to go ahead and pick your action button and connect a new one and come across. Hopefully that makes sense. Now that I'm done, I'm going to hit enter here. Of course, something to note with Civil 3D that you could never do in Land Desktop. As I was in those placement commands, I actually had the option to place a curved pipe. I'm not an expert in sewer. I know we place curved pipes in storm and transportation projects. That was something you could not model before in Land Desktop, but in Civil 3D you can. So as you're in that command, just go ahead and hit C for curve, and I guess I can show that real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe I'll do a curved pipe here over to this station. I'll connect, come out, just hit C for curve, and it asks me for the radius. So I'm going to go ahead and hit radius. And since it's a pipe segment, probably a nice big radius would be at 500 feet. I'm going to do clockwise or counterclockwise. And it's going to come off. The reason it's doing this is it's going to come off tangent. And go ahead and pick a location, and you can see it does a curved pipe coming around at my specified distance away. So this is 500 feet away, 500 radius. So hopefully that makes some sense. Play around with that. I haven't used that, as you can see. I haven't really used that. I've never been on a project where we've done a curved pipe that I've been modeling it out, but it is an option. You could also do a 3-point where you could pick 3 points and it would just put a radius in there. Of course, you just have to watch how tight you get your radiuses. I think even this radius would be too tight for that type of pipe. And there's charts and books you can get on that. So not to digress too far, but that is an available option. Okay, well, now that we have those manholes in and we place them precisely at specific alignments, I need to rename this manhole. As you can see, this one came out correctly with my manhole 50 designation, but before I noticed that mistake, this manhole label is incorrect. And something that I see, if I see it once, it's already once too often, is people want to change the text, and they say, well, I want to edit this label text, and I'll just go in here and type in manhole 50. Don't do that. That's a big mistake. What you want to do is you never edit Civil 3D text. You always edit the model. This text is linked to this modeled structure, so if I right-click on it and hit Structure Properties, I can go ahead and change that modeled part name to manhole 50. And then that text updates. The reason you want to do it that way is that if I labeled this in any drawing, and other people labeled this manhole at that point, that would update everywhere throughout the entire project. So that's really important. Okay, so there's our design. Pretty straightforward. It's not a complicated tool. I don't think so too much. And we're going to go and place this on some profiles. Let me split my view here into 2 different screens. And a tool that I want to feature or highlight here is that you can create an alignment in Civil 3D right from the network parts. So you still, just like in land, you still have an alignment and then your parts are drawn on top of that. I think in land we thought that pipes were connected to alignments, sort of the same thing, but really they were 2 different objects, and the same thing here. Chris has a question. If you change the manhole number to a number that is already in use, will Civil 3D inform you? Yeah, it will definitely inform you. It will not let you change it to that number, because that would be 2 manholes with the same number. So example, this one's manhole 19 down here. If I come down and hit Structure Properties and change this to manhole 19, and hit OK, it's going to say, nope, you can't do it. There's already a part named that. I would love if they would update this dialog to say, no, you can't do it. The last part number you can use, or the last number you can use is such and such. But I guess they don't have that, because if I had this called manhole A-19, then it would let me do it, of course, because that's a different name. So it's an alphanumeric naming convention. So if I put manhole A-19, technically that's different, and then it will let me. So hopefully that answers that question. All right, so let's make an alignment for this coming up through here. I'm going to go over to my Civil 3D pull down here. I'm going to go to Pipes, and I'm going to go to Utilities. And this is why people typically don't see it. It's sort of hidden in there. So I'm going to hit Create Alignment from Network Parts. Click that. And it says Select First Connecting Network Part. Okay, well, my alignment, just like my my sewer run, I want to go from down to up. So I'm going to go ahead and click that first manhole. And then it says to do the next. Well, I wish the dialog would let you know that you could just go right up to the end. So if I go all the way here to the very end, it knows the path to get there. it will select everything in between. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. It knows how to get there. So basically you just pick the first one, pick the last one. If I would have picked over here, it would have known to, you know, gone right at this junction instead of left to get to that. So hit enter, brings up a, you know, the create alignment dialog. Typically you're going to want to set this to either HRG utility, existing and proposed for the style, or no display if you really don't need to see that alignment at all. In this case, I'm going to set it to HRG utility, existing and proposed, and also I don't want to put any you know, stations and offsets on this, so I'm going to set the annotation to alignment label set to no display here. I'm going to have on the create profile and profile views. I have that checked on so I can go right to the next step. Also notice here, always set it, your site, leave that as none. I can tell it to start at a starting station different than 0 + 0, 0. Notice that as well. Hit OK. Name the alignment for me. I could have named it anything I wanted. Sewer alignment 10 sounds good to me. I'm going to add in my existing and proposed, or sample my existing and proposed grade. I do need to remember to come down here and tell my proposed grade to look different with a different style. I'm going to go ahead and check this finish ground and hit draw on profile view. Now here the tip here is if you use this tool, it will automatically put the correct pipes on the profile view for you, but you need to click just to look at this pipe network display here. This is something I noticed when we were doing the boot camp training. I would go through and show people this, so I'd click it and it would work properly. Other people in the class wouldn't click this, they'd just hit create in profile view because I told them to, and the pipes wouldn't show up. There's a little bug in the software where I don't know why, but you just have to click this so this comes up. If this comes up, you'll get the network parts drawn on there. Since it knows what parts connect to get up to the very end manhole, it shows them there already. If you do forget, it's no big deal. You can always add it later, but it does streamline a little bit. I'm going to go into my data bands here as well. My data band by default is set to only show the elevations for my existing grade. I'm going to change that to existing and finished grade. And then, of course, I need to make sure I target the finished grade for that second label, not existing for both. Create profile view, it asks me where to put it, so I'm just going to flop it down here, and you can see it draws everything on there for me. Okay. One problem I'm seeing here is for some reason my sumps are showing up here. What I can do to quickly fix that is just a graphical edit. What it did, you shouldn't have this issue. If you are, give me a call. But the sump, it's putting a sump on each manhole like it's an inlet. To fix that, you can just drag each one up until you get the little, you know, the Ghostbuster signal sign here. If you grab this and move this all the way to the top, you sort of get the I'm afraid to know Ghostbuster symbol there. And you know, that will take any of the sumps out. So that's a pretty quick way to fix that up. Again, maybe it's how I'm putting this network together that's screwing it up a little bit. All right, to label all these, pretty straightforward. I'm going to come up to my Civil 3D pull down, go to General, go to Add Label, change my feature to Pipe Network, and instead of doing entire network and plan or entire network and profile, I can do single part and plan or single part and profile. Keep that in mind. Since I don't have any labeling on this profile whatsoever, I am going to go ahead and elect to do the entire network in profile. I want to change these to sewer profile, and I'm going to do sewer profile edge to edge, and go up here, sewer profile proposed, or sanitary profile proposed for my style there as well. Notice in here you have two options, edge to edge and center to center. In Civil 3D, you also have available, for sewer at least, that you can label your pipe distances and slopes based on the edge to edge distance, so it's the actual true pipe slope, not the center to center. If you really think about it, the center is a little off. We've been doing it center to center for so long because that's Civil 3D or LAN desktop only allowed you to do center to center. You'd have to manually calculate edge to edge. So it's a available option here for sewer at least, which I understand our environmental group likes to do it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and do the edge to edge here. Hit add, pick one pipe network, one pipe part, and the whole thing labels. Well, now that I have some labels on here, I can go through and make some adjustments. And you can also see something that's sort of nice, that it sort of, gave me a ballpark design right off the bat here. It's not like a LAN desktop where all these would be flat. So I have put them at nice slopes and so on and so forth. And that same tool, the pipe rules, should have set my sump to 0. I'll have to check into that a little bit later. But that's what those pipe rules set for. Those pipe rules are why it has certain factors here and why it rounded and how it laid that out. So let's look at that real quick. If I go up to my prospector and I go to the settings tab, and then I go to expand pipes and structures, I will see the structure rule sets and pipe rule sets. Well, since I was using sanitary sewer parts lists, that uses my HRG sanitary lines and HRG sanitary lines for the structures and pipes. So if I double click on this, I can see there's a couple rules applied. Some of these rules are max cover, min cover, so on and so forth. So you can, something you might want to check if you're in a municipality or laying out a system that's really flat. I think for 8-inch pipe you can go to 0.035%, and that would be your low slope. So maybe you want to edit that first. If you forget to edit it, it's no big deal. So hit OK. As you can see, I edited it there, and I can go ahead and reapply those rules now. And you can also see down here it's a little goofed up yet. So let's go ahead and apply these rules. I'm going to go up to pipes, go to my Civil 3D pull down, go to pipes, I'm going to hit apply rules. It says select upslope part in plan. So plan view, my upslope part is this one at the very end. It says select downslope part, go to the very bottom, watch the profile, I hit enter, and it redesigns that out. 0%. Why are we doing 0%? I don't think that is 0%. I think it's such a low slope. I think I messed up here. Yeah, oops. This is supposed to be 3.5. That's my bad. Okay there. Do that one more time. I would have had a very flat pipe, and that's why it says 0% there, because if you can see, it has a slight angle. I was thinking feet per feet when I clicked it. Go ahead and select the upslope, select the down, hit enter, and it redesigns that out. The reason this structure is, down a little bit farther here, it looks like there's a drop. Well, the reason being, and where I'd have to edit my design here, of course, is that this manhole line or this sewer line coming in is a little lower here, so actually this line can't be that high. To adjust that, I can simply trigger on a couple of the pipes here. If I want to trigger this or select the incoming pipe, actually I'm going to select the manhole and the two bottom parts. If I hold down my shift key, I can grab the centers of these two. And then I can come over here and grab the invert and drag that down, and that will drag both of those pipes down equivalently so that I have good flow going at the bottom. Also, I see here that my manhole is not quite my existing manhole is not quite extending up to the surface. Well, why is that? Well, if I right-click on that manhole and hit Structure Properties, go to Parts, I can see that was, since I selected the FG surface to target, and you notice here in Profile View I don't have an FG surface, it doesn't know what to do, so it just sort of picked an elevation. If I set that correctly and toggle that to an EG surface, hit OK, and then also I have that same sump problem. I'm just going to drag that up, and there we are. So that will follow the EG surface. I have got questions as well where people say, well, that's an existing manhole. If I set it to the EG surface, it doesn't really give me the elevation that survey's telling me. Well, that's no problem. Just come in here again to structure properties, go to the parts properties, set this to false, and then you can type in maybe this is at 1 or 322.00. And then it will exactly equal that elevation, whatever you type in. Okay? Of course, you can drag the labels around wherever you want, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's look at the station value here. So my station value, question marks, that's no good, right? As I was saying before, if we would have told it a specific alignment to start from, say, you know, we didn't even have an alignment, so maybe we struck this alignment first, and I could have told the network to use this alignment. That wouldn't have helped me out drawing these over here, but maybe it would have through here. And in reality, you're going to want to switch, because although I want manhole 51 to actually read this alignment for its station values right now, when I project this manhole onto the road center line in another drawing, I want this station value to read my road center line stationing. So that's why I choose to typically do it through the labels. What you want to do here is highlight all the labels so you can window them all, or if you don't have a lot of pipe networks in your drawing thus far, you can right-click on one and hit Select Similar. A couple different options there. Bring up an AutoCAD Properties dialog box. I must have something else selected, so go ahead and try that again. And you notice, here's another thing I notice that people don't pick up on. Right now, my AutoCAD Properties dialog is closed. Okay? Totally closed. Not docked, closed. It's not even up. Notice how quick when I select these labels. Pretty quick, right? Just highlights them like we're normally used to. Notice when the AutoCAD Properties palette is open. So it's open here, but docked. And I'm going to actually have it auto-hide. Look at the delay I get every time I select the label. I get a little delay. That's what I'm always talking about when I'm telling people, keep your palettes closed. They add lag to the system. If you're okay with that delay, be more, you know, keep it open all you want. But I'm not, so I usually keep this closed. I select the stuff, I open up my properties, AutoCAD Properties palette, do what I need to do, and then I shut it down again. After I select all those labels, you can see in here the reference alignment. By default, the default, right now it's targeted to use the default that's assigned to the network, the pipe network. Since we don't have one assigned at all, of course, they read question marks. Well, in here, I can change this by clicking in this field, clicking the Select button. I can go ahead and select any alignment or just hit Enter at this point, and then select my alignment that I had drawn there. So sewer alignment 10. Hit OK. It labels them, and then this dialog is a little goofy to get out of. You usually have to hit Tab to get out of it, or unselect the labels, or hit Escape, and then you can see my station value reading on there. Since my network parts are right on top of this alignment, it's not station and offset, it's just simply station. So hopefully no questions there. Okay. All right, so this is pretty much gravity, cut and dry. If this manhole I mistakenly drew in as proposed, and I really need it to be existing, I can simply right-click it, hit Structure Properties on this as well. I can change the style from manhole proposed to manhole existing style, and then it will look in Plan View and in Profile View with existing block and color. So keep that in mind if you need to change things around. Same thing for pipes. Say this is actually existing as well. I can go to Pipe Properties and simply change the style from sewer line proposed to sewer line existing. Hit OK. Change my colors. Changes down here, and also now my S has a it's on a different layer, and also the S has a little slant to it. So it's just that simple between existing and proposed. Same thing for the labels. If I want to show an existing label style here, I right-click on the label, hit Edit Label Style, hit the pull down instead of sanitary profile proposed edge. I'm going to do existing edge, hit OK. Same thing here. Right click on here and do existing. In this situation, I have two manholes coming into this, or two pipes coming into the same manhole. It would be nice to know which invert is with which. I can right click on this label, hit edit label style, and change this to sanitary profile proposed multi-in. If I hit OK there, then it will tell me which manhole each label is coming from. Okay. What's great about this is if I go ahead and renumber one of these manholes, for example, if I come over here and hit structure properties again, come over and change this to manhole 99, hit OK. It's going to change this text, and which one was I on, 51, and this text automatically. So you get a 3-for-1 there, and that's why you want to use those Civil 3D labels properly. If you do need to put some custom data into the labels, you can always come to the label itself, right-click on it, hit Edit Label Text, brings up a selector button here where you can pick the different pieces. Say I want to edit this outfall text here, and I hit the out. Then you can see this is the, what it's saying. This is why it says invert out, and then this is the data it's reading from Civil 3D, and I can say to treatment plant, just off the top of my head. And then that text will go ahead and be added in there, but my labels are still dynamic, so as I move the outlet up or down, you can see the 319.05, keep an eye on that, and if I move it up, it will change elevation. Okay? There's a lot more tips and tricks on that one. I'll continue with the labeling kind of stuff and some other ways to change styles real fast at our next engineers and designers group meeting, but I do want to cover the pressure pipe situation. So I was saying from here, ignore this using a data set that I was doing on a project, ignore that this line comes down here. Act like this is a terminus manhole here, or a pump station, and I want to do a force main line coming up and going down the road. So the first thing I need to do is draw an alignment for this force main coming up through here. So I'm going to go ahead and, just for drawing's sake here, switch my viewports back to single, hit OK. Mark. I got another question here. Can you drag labels off structures with leaders that connect to the structures? No. Yes, you can, but the structure, there's a little bug in the software that when you drag the label off here, it will connect the leader, and I had it set up to begin with, but it's going to connect it to the center. Hopefully one of those days they'll fix that so we can toggle it so it connects the leader to the top. Right now what I do is what I just did there. I manually draw on a piece of line. I drag my leader over and manually draw it. So that's that. And another question, say you have a client that wants to station each manhole run starting at 0 plus 0, 0. Is there an easy way to do that? Station each manhole run at 0 plus 0, 0. Yeah, you just have multiple alignments. Each manhole run. So you mean like each pipe length. Is that what you mean there, Chad? So this would actually say 0 plus 0, 0, and then this would, what, say 2 stations? Or would this, I don't, what do you do in this case? Does it say 0 plus 0, 0 for the next segment, and then, or do you mean each run like the whole length? So if you can clarify that, I'll address that then once I hopefully see you clarify what's going on there. All right, so doing this force main, I'm going to come up and get my alignment for it, and this is different. We're not going to use pipe networks now. We're going to use a corridor model, and you'll see why here, hopefully in a little bit. I'm going to hit create alignment from layout, I'm going to go ahead and call this sewer force main. I'm going to go ahead and pick my HRG force main proposed style, which I just created at the beginning of this class, so I'll get that in the template. And I'm going to go and set my alignment label set to no display because I don't want it to be labeled. The other thing I want to do is turn off all this design. You know, this is made for road design. I don't have a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on my force main, so I'm going to turn that off. Hit OK, and I'm going to go ahead and use my alignment label tools here after it does an autosave, and get this thing labeled out. Hit my start PVI, and another thing I want to do is I want to, this alignment that I'm making is not my, this is the alignment of the center of the pipe, which is different from the alignment of the, your design alignment. And you'll see that here in a second. So for that, I want curves because I need it to curve like each elbow curves in the force main, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and hit my curve and spiral settings. And I'm going to do a 1 inch or a 1 foot 12-inch force main. So it's 12-inch force main. So I'm going to do 1 foot curve here. Hit OK. And I'm going to place my tangents with curves. So as I go, it's going to, as I bring this around here, it's actually going to put curves in my pipe segments or my alignment segments. Come up here, maybe come over to here, come down, go to here, come way down to here, and that's good enough. Okay. Now this little bitty curve here, you can see it. I actually want to make that a little bit bigger, and that's my last curve. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my panorama tool here, grid view tool, and I change that last curve to something more substantial, maybe 200-foot radius. So I'm going to, represent a curve in the pipe. And 200 foot is not big enough. Hit that again. Let's do 1,000 feet. Okay. All right. So that's going through here. There is a little snafu right here with this the station offset text. So, maybe you, for this situation, if you have that coming into play, you might have to have this alignment turned off and just trace over top of this with a force main line type. So you don't have that happening in your drawing. I haven't messed with that too much. You might be able to reverse sub-assembly and take care of that, but it doesn't seem like you can. So you might have to freeze this ultimately and have it. This is really going to be used for our corridor model to come up through more than anything. All right, now that I have that force mains line drawn in there, and if you have just straight line segments, you should be good. If you have a curve, you might have to do some extra work and trace over that with a normal polyline. I'm going to go ahead and bring in some pieces from our palette. If you notice in your palette now, you have these under Civil 3D Assemblies, which is under HRG Design. You have some additional pressure pipe assemblies. Like I said, I was going to do a 12-inch pipe, so I'm going to click that assembly and bring that into my drawing. And you can see all I'm doing is modeling an assembly here that has the bottom of the pipe and then the top of the pipe, or the top of the pipe and then the bottom of the pipe. So bring that in. All the little circles with the point codes. Really, you don't worry about what that looks like. Just bring it in when you need it for data's sake. I'm going to go back over to my plan view here. And the next thing I need to do is do a profile of this. Okay. Well, if I go through here and go into my profiles pull down, I can hit create profile from surface and pick that center line. So my, where is that? Sewer force main alignment center line. I'm going to add my existing grade and my finish grade. Go ahead, set my finish grade to be finish grade style. hit Draw on Profile View. Brings me to the next dialog. Hit Create Profile View dialog. Can do some settings here. I'm good with those defaults. Hit Create Profile View here again. And I'm going to place this profile view. Okay. You can see it drew on some, which is interesting. I don't know where that came from. But it projected on these sewer runs. I don't know why. I'll have to look into that. I wonder if it's because I did this and deleted this this stuff already. But really what I need to do is have a design invert for this force main. So coming back to that, I want to split my views here again. Right. There will be an equal station 0, 0, 2, 2. Oh. Chad was saying that, yeah, each manhole would say 0 plus 0, 0, and then it would also say 0 plus 0, 0 at the end would say equals to 3 plus 50 if the line was 350 feet long. I'd have to look into that, Chad. There might be a way to, with the expressions, there might be a way to do that where we can take the station, add the pipe length, and have that output in, because it's basically just lengths. It's essentially pipe lengths is what they're really doing. And just have it show up in a way that it's representing the length of the run. That's 6 plus 50. I'd have to look into that and get back to you on that. Okay, so need to do this force main. Typically, you're going to be 4 foot below grade, so I'm just going to do a little tracer line here, which is 4 foot or right over top of the lesser of my existing or proposed grade. Okay, just come down through here, good enough. Offset this down 40, which would be 4 feet. And that gives me a reference line. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do Create Profile by Layout, sort of like I'm designing a road underground. I'm going to hit this profile view. Make sure my design codes are off. And my label set complete, that's okay. Same thing here. I'm going to do curve settings and change my length to 50. And I can do circular or parabolic or however you want to do it. Sorry. 50 there. 50 there. And then I'm going to hit Draw Tangents with Curves. I'm just going to go through here and pick, below that reference line. And no, there is not a way to simply just use that reference line that I'm aware of. There might be something I'm missing. There's this convert line and to spline. Maybe that might work. I've never used it. So I'm not going to go off script. Just going to go ahead and select this. And select down through here, keeping as many segments straight as possible. Hit enter. And delete my vertical curve text. I don't need that. Okay. Delete my reference line. And what I can do here now is I can make a corridor, because essentially I have an alignment and a profile and an assembly, that little pipe, circular pipe assembly. So I'm going to go into my corridors pull down, hit corridor, create corridor. It says select alignment, hit enter. I'm going to just pick my force main center line, select profile, hit enter. I have this design profile I just generated. Okay. Select assembly, hit enter. Select my pipe 12-inch assembly, hit OK. It's asking me to set up the parameters for the corridor. I'm going to change my frequency to 5 feet intervals. So it's going to put a little pipe segment every 5 feet. And finally, I'm going to call this sewer force main here, and I'll be done here in a second. Going to go over and I can see that corridor in my prospector now. I'm going to right click on it, hit corridor properties, go up to my code so you guys can see this thing and hit assembly design. And what that did is it ran a little circular shape down, following this alignment, down this profile vertically. So if I do a PDV point and go to a side view, you can see that force main going through underneath existing ground there. So hopefully you can see the little circles for that. So how we can bring that in, now that we have that model, we can use that for all kinds of stuff. We can use that to do crossings on other pipe runs or alignments, or I can have it show, I need to show the top of pipe up here. So to do that, I'm going to go back into corridor properties, go to surfaces, and I need to actually make a surface of the top of that pipe. So I'm going to hit create surface here, call this FM top, and I have two options here. I can generate a surface from the bottom of the pipe or the top of the pipe. So I'm going to do the top, hit add, change this to top links. So there's a video of this. You just follow this when you need to do this. FM bottom links, hit add, change it to bottom links, hit OK. So that's going to generate two surfaces off that corridor, and why you need to do the top and the bottom is because the surface can't overlap itself. And change this to no display, don't really need to see that right here. It's that surface. It's actually both of them, so I have to do it twice. And then I can go into my prospector or my pull down, hit profiles, create profile from surface, and then I'm going to only elect to sample my force main top, since I already have the bottom drawn in with the design. Change this to finish grade, hit OK, and there's the force main top. So why do we do it like this? Well, because if I set my force main to automatic rebuild now, or my corridor to automatic rebuild, and say I want to change this curve in here and have that a little bit more curved, I can go to Edit Profile Geometry. I need to find that one. My panorama here. Where is that? That's a couple back. Let me see if I can change this another way. I have a couple vertical curves, so I changed the wrong one there. Trying to rush this along to get done. Yeah, it already has vertical curve. But the point is, you can add longer vertical curves to this, and I can now drag this control line up and down, and it will change my force main design for me. So you got to think further ahead of, okay, if I have this force main now, then project it onto a series of other profiles, other center lines, so on and so forth. It's updating everything now. Same thing here, if I grab this alignment and move the alignment. So say I'm going to slide this alignment over to here. It's going to update my profile and my corridor model and my force main. So essentially, I'm modeling my force main And you can see everything updated there then. So then I can come in here, and if I move that profile over there, maybe I have to move my force main down, so on and so forth.